Hi, welcome to the summer edition of Littleton Common. We hope you're getting outside and enjoying the beautiful weather. And how about you?
Oh boy, I've been outside and I've been working on my gardens because the weather is so good to do that. But I have poison ivy to show for it.
Oh no, I hate poison ivy.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, when I was younger, I got it right before we went to football camp my senior year. I got it really bad in the eyes and stuff, and
Oh,
it was
no.
all puffy and swollen. It was a mess, and it was tough because football camp, you know, you sweat and you work out, and it's hard.
Yeah,
and
it
I had
is.
that and poison ivy to deal with. So
And it takes a while to go away.
yes, it does.
And then I get it again.
Well, I don't know, but since then I haven't really got it that bad
Good.
over the years. So I don't know if that built up an immunity to it or something. I don't know.
Could be.
But anyway,
Anyway, Mark,
yes.
how do you get the news about Littleton? Because we don't have an exclusive Littleton paper anymore. So, you know, there's Facebook, but that's not always reliable source. And some wait for news from a friend who heard from a friend. So what do you do?
Well, working in town hall has its advantages, one of which is I feel I have a good pulse on what's happening around town. So let's face it, most news on TV or in the newspaper is depressing because they think that's what attracts viewers or it sells newspapers. Well, we want to use this show as a vehicle to bring you some good news, something to brighten your day. Also, to let you know about some great things that will be happening or have already happened in Littleton. And we'll bring you interviews and stories about people in town, either past or present. And we also have fun, and we want the show to be interactive between us and you. So each month we give away prizes in our trivia contests. So if you know of a story idea you would like us to cover, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And you can send those ideas to my email address, which is mcrory@littletonma.org.
There's a lot of stories here because there's a lot of people who contribute to our town and have made it special. So one person is Hazel Plummer. I interviewed Hazel when she was a young 100 years old. Hazel, at 114, is the oldest resident of Massachusetts. She is a Gemini, born in Somerville on June 19th, 1908.
Wow.
She and her husband Elmer and her children moved to Littleton in 1957. So happy belated birthday, Hazel.
Yes, and get this, Barbara. Not only is Hazel the oldest resident in Massachusetts, she's the fourth oldest in the United States. And the separation between number 1 and 4 is only 7 months difference. And she's also the 13th oldest person in the world.
Wow.
And in case you're wondering, who is the oldest person in the world? Well, that title belongs to Lucille Randon of France. And she turned 118 years old in February.
My gosh.
Now, just an aside, Barbara, out of the 50 oldest people in the world, how many do you think are women?
A lot.
A lot. That is true. Actually, 45 out of the 50 oldest people in the world are women.
Wow.
You know why
Wow.
that is?
Why?
Because women take care of themselves better than men.
Oh
I think.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
They also take care of the whole family.
And
Remember?
I know. I'm surprised at that statistics. I thought that women would go sooner because they seem to carry the stress load of all that burden. But
Maybe it works.
yeah, I don't know what the reason is, but that's the facts. 45 out of 50.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we also want to mention about the First Baptist Church, speaking of birthdays. They had their bicentennial 200th birthday in June. June 26th, on Sunday, they had a celebration where they had an ice cream social and some other events. So congratulations and happy birthday to the First Baptist Church on the
Definitely.
Common.
Great.
Yeah, excellent. Well, July 4th was the time to celebrate our country and its independence since 1776. That was the year of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And our country has had 246 birthdays, and Hazel Plummer has seen 114 of them.
A lot. Yeah. Well, we hope your day was enjoyable. Did you do anything the 4th?
Me?
You.
I did. Well, I came to Littleton here and went down to Lake Manawanaki at my cousin's, and was able to, use the jet ski and go tubing, and brought the kids down, and we had a barbecue, and they have a great place, and it was so much fun. It was a beautiful day.
It was.
And just had a great time. How about you?
Nothing.
Okay. Well,
Gardened.
I did. Speaking of news, I did see on Facebook with some of your family went up north to northern New Hampshire and spent some time by a river and stuff.
They
and
had a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't invite you, I guess.
Yeah. They went to Stephanie's boyfriend's cabin up there.
Nice. That's great. Well, there is something cool I want to tell you about. It's at the library. It's new, and it's for those with visual impairments. Now, if that's you, the Topaz Video Magnifier may be just the thing you need. Now, this unit provides a full HD image on a 17-inch screen and is available for in-library use. It's adjustable for ease of use, and all you have to do is check with a librarian for how to use it. And this came through a grant from the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. And I love it when the town gets stuff through grants because it costs us nothing. It's like winning the lottery, in a way.
Well, I want to thank Holly Stewart for taking over as interim president of the Friends of the Council on Aging, while President Nancy Levine recovers from a recent knee surgery. Excuse me for having a raspy sound.
No problem.
That's happening lately. Well, Nancy is doing well, and we wish her a speedy recovery. Holly will continue on as interim president until September or longer. She is doing a great job, and we are lucky to have a board of directors and representatives that continue to be so dedicated to Littleton seniors.
And speaking of board members, a big heartfelt thank you to Bill Vales and Nancy Hilsinger, who recently retired from the LCTV Advisory Committee after many years of service on the committee. And they will be missed for sure.
They will. They will.
We've been talking a lot lately about infectious diseases that we can see in animals, but what about those diseases that are not as contagious or things that pop up out of the blue, maybe something a little bit more predictable? So I'd like to talk this session about dogs and arthritis. When our friends get older, we often will see degenerative joint disease, wear and tear, on really commonly used joints. For whatever reason, in large breed dogs, we tend to see it more in the back end. Sometimes in smaller dogs or dogs with shorter legs, we can see it also in the front legs or the elbows. My first golden retriever had elbow dysplasia, where his elbows didn't develop correct as a young puppy, and he had elbow arthritis later in life. And so these types of things come on slowly over time. And our dogs are not like us. They feel an ache or pain and they adapt to it. Unless it's too severe for them to overcome, they're going to try to figure out a way to go about their daily business and ignore whatever that ache and pain is. We feel an ache and pain and we go, this doesn't feel right, I'm going to take some ibuprofen, or it's getting worse, I might go see my doctor. The other thing that makes dogs different than people is they have 4 legs. So if one leg is bothering them, they can easily shift weight to the other 3, using that one leg less, but you, the owner, don't notice a difference. And so this is something that we might not notice in your pet at their regular wellness visits until it's far more progressed. We have to rely upon what you're seeing at home. So what do you need to watch for? In most dogs that do not have a history of orthopedic injury or orthopedic problems as a younger animal, dogs that have normal conformation, so basset hounds, dachshunds that might have shorter legs, Those dogs might have a different timeline, but most of our dogs, we might start to see problems around 9, 10, and they're going to slowly worsen over time. And so most people, we don't notice it till they're 12 or 13, but by then they've had it for quite some time. So things to watch for. When they're getting up from lying down, if their back legs are painful, they will push their chest forward and tuck their elbow up under their rib cage, which allows them to put more weight on that front leg, using the back legs less. Dogs that just jump up on all four and seem ready to go obviously are normal, but dogs that seem like they're really pulling themselves up with their front feet are starting to get sore in the back legs. If they're hesitating, going up and down stairs, or if they're going up and down stairs taking their time. Used to be they'd run all the way up and run all the way down, but now they're step by step by step. You might notice that change. If they used to be able to hop in the car and now you see them take like a 1, 2, 3 before they hop in the car, that would be an early sign. If they, after a walk, you go for your regular morning walk in the neighborhood, your dog takes a nap, and when they get up, they seem to be walking with a little bit more stiffness or a little slower for the first few steps before they're running to the door, those are the subtle signs to look for. And in many cases, something like a joint supplement could be perfect in those early stages. Joint supplements are designed to provide your body with the building blocks of cartilage. Cartilage you cannot replace once it's gone. So as you're wearing down your cartilage, that can make it very brittle, and your body can't fix that. So these joint supplements will allow your body to repair those cracks and fissures. It'll also keep the joint fluid nice and loose and slippery, so you don't get that achy, creaky feeling when you're moving. Later on in the arthritis phase, we do need to use some pain therapy. Just like we might take ibuprofen or aspirin, your dog needs something that's safe for dogs to keep their pain under control. There are lots of other things that we can employ for arthritis later on in life, and the more involved or more costly as we go down the line. But some of the things I like to recommend to my clients is a prescription diet designed to alleviate arthritis in those joints. My second golden retriever was born with hip dysplasia. He had really severe arthritis by 1 year of age, and I had him on a prescription mobility diet for 10 years. And one day when he decided, I don't want to eat this anymore, I immediately saw his arthritis symptoms come back. So while you might feel you're paying a little bit more for food, if it's a prescription food, it is absolutely worth it.
Littleton welcomes a new assistant town administrator to town, Ryan Ferrara. And Ryan, most recently, was the town administrator. Take over.
Oh, he was town administrator in Wenham. And before that, why don't you have a little drink there? Then
I will.
Before that, he served as the town administrator in our neighboring town of Boxborough. We will be meeting Ryan on a future edition of Littleton Commons, so look out for that.
Good.
Well, it's summer, and many of us will be traveling by car to and fro. And with the ridiculous prices of gases these days, this will be an expensive endeavor. Well, here are some helpful hints to help save some money at the gas pump this summer. Now, some of these you may know, and some may be new to you, as they were to me. So number one, first of all, avoid buying gas when there's a delivery truck at the station. You've seen them with the pumps and the hoses that go out.
Yeah.
Well, recent deliveries of gas can stir up the sediment in the tanks, which can clog your fuel filter. And so avoid that. You see the tank, go to the next station. Number two, you want to buy gas at the right times of day. Now, who thinks of that? This tip may sound a little superstition, but it's true that the time of day matters when you buy your gas. If you buy it in the middle of the hot summer afternoon, after the sun has been beaten down on the fuel reservoir all day, that gas is probably expanded. And when fuel is less dense, you get less from the pump for your money. So, in the cool air of the morning and the evening, you're guaranteed to save a small amount of money and get more gasoline for it in return. So shop smart. Number three, most nozzles are set to pump gas at the 3 speeds. You have those slow, medium, and fast. Well, pumping at high speeds releases more gasoline vapors. which your nozzle pulls back in with a vapor recovery system. And most pumps are outfitted with this. So this means you could be paying for more gas than you actually receive. So pumping at a slower rate releases fewer vapors, which means you're receiving more of the gas that you paid for. And that's something I'd never heard of before. Number 4, you want to check the tire pressure once a month to make sure your tires are filled to the optimal recommended PSI. Underinflated tires can lower your gas mileage and cause you to lose about 3 cents per gallon, according to the Massachusetts Department of Energy. So to find the proper tire pressure for your car, check the owner's manual or the sticker in the driver's side door jamb or in the glove box. You usually find that information there. And number 5, finally, try not to let your tank get below half filled. Now normally, when you want to have less weight in your car to get better gas mileage. So you don't want to keep a lot of extra stuff in your trunk, heavy things. And some people believe that if you keep your tank filled all the time, that's more weight and that you'll get less mileage. But in the summer, anyway, in the hot summer weather, gasoline can evaporate in your tank. And the more space in your tank, the hotter the air can get. Hence, more evaporation can take place and you'll be wasting fuel. So with fuel costs so high, every drop counts. So safe travels, everybody.
Well, those are great suggestions.
Thank you.
And, you know, I'm going to think, well, I don't pump the gas, Al does, but I'll write all that down.
Yeah,
and
well,
give it to
hopefully
him.
he watches the show. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, many of you know who Ed Howard is. He was the owner of Ed's Weenies. He operated a hot dog cart at Gary's farm stand on Grape Road for a number of years. Ed has recently sold the cart to Littleton resident Mike Mazzoni. Mark caught up with Ed at his home in Acton recently to talk about his time in Littleton and to thank him for the many years that he has donated the proceeds of his tip jar to various town departments and organizations.
Well, I'm very blessed today to be with Ed Howard at his home. Ed, thanks for having me here today to talk a little bit.
Thank you for asking me.
You're welcome. And, you know, we're here this month to, we've been highlighting different people who have, you know, contributed things to Littleton and over the years, and certainly you have done so with Ed's Weenies, which is a staple in Littleton, and glad to see that even though you're retired now, that the business is going to continue on.
Right. It will. And that was very important to me because people have a tie to Ed's Weenies. An interesting story. The person that bought it, Mike Mazzoni, he and his brother used to come ride their bikes to the stand. And he wanted to make sure that Ed's Weenies continued in Littleton, and it is. So thank you, Mike,
Yes.
and good luck.
Yeah.
I hope that anyone who's retired and gets a second job just to keep themselves busy, which is what I did.
You certainly did keep busy, that's for sure. You know.
The business, it was unbelievable how quickly it grew, and now it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I drove by today on my way to work. I drive by there every day, and I noticed that there was a line of customers at the hot dog stand. So it's great that you know, people are still going to enjoy that for many years to come, because that was a legacy that you left,
Right.
and that's just great. At last night's Board of Selectmen meeting, they did a proclamation. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I'd
No.
like to read it to you and present it to you
Sure.
in person. It says, Certificate of Appreciation, the Littleton Select Board recognizes Ed Howard. On behalf of the people of Littleton, the Select Board extends their deepest appreciation and thanks for his generous donations to the Littleton community. the 11th day of July, 2022, Littleton Select Board. And it's signed by all the Select Board for you.
Michael,
And not only
thank
did
you.
not only did they sign this and read this proclamation, but there were a few testimonies as well from Steve Mark came up on behalf of the schools, and he thanked you for, donating over $10,000 over the years to the schools.
Right.
Liz Trediak was there from the COA, and of course you've been a big contributor to them as well. And in fact, that night they accepted another donation for $607, I believe it was, to be used for families
Right.
in need.
Right.
And if you add up that all the totals of your tips, that's amazing because I know that it says on the jar what it's going to and whatnot, but you didn't have to do that, and you did. And what a great thing it was for people to, you bought many books for the library because of your money, and those books will be around for
Right.
for years. So any thoughts about that what
Well, the reason I started the books was years ago when I first started at where the police department is now. I started in the turnout that was there from Stan's
Yes,
farm.
can't stop wave.
Right. And I started it because I was listening to two kids talk. They were 15, 16 years old. And one of them read books, hardcover books. Another one read on his computer. And they were debating which was best. So I kind of listened. And I went home that night, and I put my hands in my pockets of my jeans, and I pulled out a $10 bill. Now, I started this business not because I wanted to make money, because I wanted to have fun. And so I never accepted tips, never. But it was impossible not to take them because people would, and that was the time when people made their own change. And, it was different. And the rocks that were there were reserved them for people. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I started out.
So it started with $10, and it grew
Yeah.
to over 20,000 at least.
Right.
Maybe more. That's what they were trying to figure out, how much you've donated over the years, and the best estimate is that north of $20,000,
Right.
which is amazing. And not only that, but you've been involved with other things in the community, especially with the Neshoba Valley Corral for all the years that you helped to organize that and to get that going. It was kind of a fledgling operation, I'll say.
It was.
But now they are probably one of the premier corrals in the area, and they have you and your your leadership to thank for that, because of all the things you did for them, and so much behind the scenes people don't realize. You've been in the studio many times to tape
Right.
the promos, to promote things, and just
And you've been so helpful.
no, I enjoyed it. And anyway, so we just wanted to take the time today to recognize you and to thank you, and say that your little endeavor that you did for fun has turned into quite a legacy that will affect many people for many, many years. And Ed's Weenies will live on.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Mark,
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much for everything that you've done to help us. both the hot dog stand and the corral and everything else. It's been tremendous. And we would not be successful as you helped make us.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it so much. And, not only that, but just working with you all the years has really been a big blessing in my life. So, yeah. So thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
So Ed's a great guy. I really enjoyed spending some time with him, and just to thank him for all the stuff that he's done. And I got to tell you, his pretzel dogs were the best. It probably still will be the best.
Yeah.
Because I know that Mike said that they're going to continue on with the menu. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, Ed is a great guy. And he, I hope, will come back and visit us once in a while.
Right. We'll wish him the best, for sure. Well, this month's look at a Littletonian in history who has made a significant contribution is Hannah Perkins Dodge. Hannah Perkins Dodge was born in North Littleton, Massachusetts, on February 16, 1821. She dedicated her life to the education of young people, especially young women, and to philanthropic causes. Hannah taught as a young woman and attended Lawrence Academy and Townsend Female Academy. After graduating from the latter school, she became Townsend Female Academy's principal. And in addition, she taught in Norfolk, Virginia for a few months. And 7 years after beginning her tenure in Townsend, Hannah moved to Worcester, Massachusetts to teach at a school for young women that had been founded by Eli Thayer in 1848. She served as preceptress and later as acting principal, while also teaching moral philosophy and mathematics. In 1859, Hannah left Oread and spent a year traveling and studying in Europe. Upon her return in 1861, she opened her own school, Codman Hill Young Ladies School in Dorchester, Massachusetts. Then Hannah moved to Michigan in 1868 to become lady principal at Kalamazoo College. Later, she returned to New England, serving in the same capacity at the co-ed New London Literary and Scientific Institution, later Colby Academy, in New London, New Hampshire. Now, while she officially retired in 1877 and returned to Littleton, Massachusetts, Hannah was not done giving back. In addition to being a philanthropist, she served as the superintendent of schools in Littleton, and as a trustee of the Reuben Hoare Library, and as the president of the local Women's Christian Temperance Union. Hannah Perkins Dodge passed away in Littleton on January 11th, 1896, and was buried in Westlawn Cemetery.
Wow.
Yeah,
She did a lot for that time. So I don't want to hear, I can't do it.
No, not for sure. I mean,
Never.
She was definitely a trailblazer, and just so cool to learn about Littleton people that have done great things.
And there's a lot.
And there are a lot.
And still doing.
Yes, for sure. Well, speaking of Westlawn Cemetery, the Littleton Historical Commission, using community preservation funds, has commissioned the preservation consultants, Fanning and Lehner, out of Concord, Massachusetts, to restore and refurbish several gravestones in both the old burial grounds on the Common and Westlawn Cemetery. I caught up with the husband and wife team of Minxie and James Fannin, who were at Westlawn restoring several headstones. One such headstone was none other than Hannah P. Dodge. And this was so fascinating to me. I hope you feel the same after watching this.
I'm Jim Fannin, and this is the head of the firm, Minxie Fannin.
Hi.
The firm is Fannin Lehner Preservation Consultants. Our specialty is the conservation of gravestones and monuments.
We like very much working for the Littleton Historical Commission because they really understand doing things the correct way. For instance, they knew this Westlawn needed help as well as the old burying ground. So first they had us do what's called a condition assessment plan, where we looked over every stone in the entire old section of the cemetery and recorded which ones needed work and what conservation procedures were needed. Here's an example of a before and after. And then we work with the commission to decide what stones to work on. But the commission, the historical commission, asked especially to work on the Hannah P. Dodge stone because the stone is so important in remembering this incredible Hannah P. Dodge, who was a great educator and I believe ended up her career as the superintendent of schools for Littleton.
And Jim, what are you doing today?
We're working on a stone that when we found is broken in several pieces. It had been repaired at one time, but they had failed, and it was in a sandstone base which had fractured, so it wouldn't hold the stone any longer. And our effort was, we decided we'd try to use the original materials as much as possible, rather than substituting. Sometimes you have to. In this case, we felt that the base could be repaired, even though sandstone is not a terribly strong stone. So we pinned the pieces back together onto the base, creating a slot into which the stone, we've just mortared the stone itself, the bottom fragment. And that will now sit for at least 3 days while the mortar cures, and then we'll be pinning the top pieces on the stone, utilizing pins that were done earlier. Somebody had pinned it at one time and they all separated when it fell. The base broke and it fell the last time.
How long have you two been doing this kind of restoration?
We've been doing this for 34 years. Started in 1988, and when Minxie had an idea after going to a meeting that this would be a field we should look into, and here we are. In 2018, we received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Massachusetts Historical Commission for our work in cemeteries throughout Massachusetts, which was a surprise to us, but it was very nice to get.
How many other stones are you planning to do in Littleton?
Well, we do it in chunks, funded through the Littleton Historical Commission and the CPC. So basically, it's a string of phases of work. It can't all be done at once. So this particular round, we'll probably do somewhere between 15 and 20 stones. Before cleaning, as you can see, it's got lots of different residue deposits on it. And with Littleton, the air is fairly clean, and this encourages, unfortunately, growth. And this stone was actually just as dark as that one. This has also had some conservation done on it. I believe it was tipping, and we reset it. And it may have been actually inserted into a space. See how the mortar there looks fairly fresh.
So I'm Leo Green. I work for Fannin Laner, Preservation Consultants. And right now I'm resetting a ground-supported marble headstone. We use sand and pea stone and compact it all around the stone. Usually we put a base of sand and pea stone under the stone about 2 or 3 inches, and it helps it drain and it supports it real well. It's less likely to move over time. This one is going in because we find it's easier to set the bottom fragment before we pin the top fragment on, because otherwise we'd have to set up some kind of jig to hold this vertical, whereas it's just as easy with a stone this size to set the bottom fragment and then put on the top fragment with adhesive.
So this particular stone doesn't have the base, it's just set in dirt.
Yeah, that's called a tablet stone.
Or a slab stone.
How much deeper does that go down?
40% we try to get below grade.
Yeah, 40% of this stone from below grade. It's about 14 inches. from here to the bottom of the stone, from ground level to the bottom. And we're setting it so the carver, there's a carver name here, which you sometimes get. So that's going to be just above grade. Can you see that there? It says T. Warren Lowell. So we're going to keep that out of the ground in case that's useful information to anyone. Or... Okay. Ready for this? Yeah. I can.
So what's the most rewarding part about your job?
Go ahead.
Well, you know, on a day like this with the sun shining and a gentle breeze, and we're, you know, helping stones to return to sort of not original, but to extend their life as much as possible. It's really enjoyable to do, and then look at your handiwork after you're done and say, well, that's good for many more years. That's, I think, what I find the challenge of, you know, a multiple part stone, getting it back together.
So wasn't that interesting?
That's very interesting. We should mention that Donna White is someone who is always Hannah Dodge at different functions. She loves doing that too.
Yeah, that's right. She's kind of kept that on the forefront. Many people probably have heard of Hannah Dodge because of Donna.
Oh, of
and
course.
the talks that she's done to, I think part of the curriculum in school now, they study Littleton history and Hannah Dodge, and she comes in and talks to the kids.
Wonderful. She's got the whole outfit and
She
everything.
does, yeah, that's great.
Good.
That's great.
Well, now it's time to announce the winner of last month's trivia question. And the winner of the $50 gasoline card was Susan Melander. So congratulations, Susan.
Well, now this month's trivia question. But before I ask it, do you want to know what will be given away? We have 2 Burger King gift certificates to award, and each one is for $35. That's right, we'll be awarding $70 in Burger King yumminess. I know I'm not eligible to win, so I'm just a little sad about that. But
Me either.
yeah, neither are you. Well, these certificates were generously donated by Mr. George Sanders. So thank you, George, for watching the show and for the donation. Okay, here is the question. In 1868, Hannah Perkins Dodge became Lady Principal at what college? If you think you know the answer, email me at mcrory@littletonma.org and put Littleton Common Trivia in the subject line. And in the main part of the email, give me your answer and your name and your address so we can contact you if you win. We will draw the winner from all the correct entries received. Now, so far, we have not had to draw a winner because each month we've received only one response. So if you're watching this, it's not too late or too early to give us your guess. And hopefully this month we'll receive a flood of answers.
Well, let's hope that happens
Yes.
because, you know, it's kind of a fun thing and you do get a good prize.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Free. We love free stuff.
Well, we want to remind you to join our friends for lunch every Monday through Friday when Gail Dalton becomes, or rather welcomes, she doesn't want to become, but seniors to the senior diner for lunch. Every Thursday, Gail serves her special meal of soup and sandwich. This is becoming very popular, and I've heard great things about it, so please call Gail at 781-325-7879 the day before so she can have your name on the reservation list. The cost is $3, so don't eat alone. Join us at the diner.
Well, That's it for the show. We hope you have a great summer. We'll be back in September with a new Littleton comment.
Well, I want to mention something, Mark. In September, maybe it'll be a new me.
How so, Barbara?
Well, because it's about time that this wig has gotten a little old, so I'm going to get a new one. And maybe new eyelashes,
Wow.
new
Well,
lipstick, new whatever.
if you're donating that one, I could use a little help. So I think it's time I had a new look
We can
myself.
dye it your color too.
It's whatever.
Yeah,
I don't.
sure.
I'm not picky.
So it might
Believe
be,
me.
it might be a new me and a new you.
A new me, but new us. So
new
you
us.
don't want to miss that.
No, and don't forget our seniors.